This wrist right here holds the key to you playing great golf. And today we're going to take a deep dive into great impact, how to create great impact and stop flipping the club forever, and I mean forever. And we'll also be looking at a student of mine who fixed his flip in just 1 hour. And this particular student, he had been struggling with flipping for years and he was flipping out until we did this basic wrist lesson. The first thing you know about this wrist and flipping, well, flipping is when the trail wrist starts doing this windshield wiper motion through impact. And that means that it's really hard for you to control where this club comes into the ground. And that's your number one fundamental, being able to have a controllable low point. The pros know how to master low point control. They hit the ball first, take a divot all the time. So as they're swinging into impact, they are focusing on keeping the angle in this trail wrist. And even after impact, you're still going to see some of this angle. You'll never flip again when you keep the angle. Now, flipping happens for a couple of reasons. One, as the golfer starts down, their trail arm is going to straighten early. It's called early extension of the trail arm. Another thing can happen in the process of this arm straightening early. To avoid chunking the ball, because you know you don't want to chunk it, your subconscious brain says, hey, Tom, let's pull this arm up and flip this hand so we can hit the ball. It does this through impact. And it can feel like this uncomfortable flinch, seizure, a slowdown, you get stuck, impact, you stand up, you can't turn through the ball, your arms feel short, the ball isn't going anywhere, and we're not sure where you're striking the ball on the ground. So if you can relate to flipping, you've probably felt at least one of those things. Now, what's it feel like when we keep the angle? Well, if I keep the angle in this wrist, I have to do a couple of things. One, I've got to keep the trail arm tucked in. So we prevent early extension. It's easier to keep the angle. As I start down, keep the trail arm tucked in, keep moving my shoulders. I've got the angle still here. And if I keep swinging my shoulders into impact, there's the angle, and then the trail arm extends. That's where you get both arms extending straight. And the feeling of that impact is way more powerful. One of the things I hear golfers talk about that they can't seem to turn through the ball or rotate through the ball. And a lot of golfers will try and force hip turn or try and turn their hands aggressively through impact to feel like they're getting through the ball. But in reality, this isn't fixing the root problem, which is early extension and then pulling the arms in and flipping. So you're not really getting powerful impact, you just feel like you're doing a powerful motion. But the feeling of this impact is like this. And you can just see the explosion of speed. It's like passing a basketball aggressively down and forward, and both arms extend straight, my hips turn, and the shoulders move through the ball. So what you feel is this full body release. And I didn't have to focus on hip turn. All I had to focus on was keeping the trail arm tucked in, keeping this angle, and moving my shoulders. And that was the big piece that solved it for this student who had struggled with flipping forever. So as you're going to see a little bit of his swing in action, he had this brutal flip. His trail arm would straighten early coming into back, and you saw this little flinch move, like just before the ball. And it was like a seizure. You might even call it a yip. And you would guess that we just fix it by holding the angle, right? Well, no, we started with the right arm. And as you're going to see here, he came to me, and he's got a little bit more of this angle, the top of backswing, where he doesn't quite have enough wrist hinge. So we worked on getting the trail arm folded, and you saw this happen. More wrist hinge. Look at that beautiful Ben Hogan-like top of backswing position. Now this arm's loaded. It's storing tons of power. And a lot of people don't know that you could fix your chunky shots and your thin shots, early extension, just by getting more fold here. And then I told him, once you've got that fold, you just keep this arm tucked in and just start swinging those shoulders down. And he would bring it down into here. And he's storing the power. Versus the old swing where he starts doing this already. The flinch is going to start happening. So right away with your swing, you've got to think about trail arm being tucked in as the number one. and this little wedge right here. In with the wedge. If you can keep the wedge, you got more power anyway. And just bring that down into here. And what we did from here is he had to learn how to get through impact without flipping. So I said, keep those shoulders moving. And he worked on this. And at first, this was a new concept to him, so he had his body down like this. So I added a little bit more extension through the shot. This kept his body turning and extending his arms fully to straight in the follow through. So that powerful release of club head speed, like this. Instead of just staying down, your body has to stay at about the same height, so his body starts extending, and that releases a ton of speed. One thing hasn't happened yet in our lesson. I have not once tried to force impact position on him. I have not once said, you need to just hold this and keep this angle forever. No, we work backwards. What happens at impact is the result of other things. Good impact happens, trail arm tucked in. As we start down, keep the shoulders moving, and your trail arm stays tucked in. There's good impact. I don't force it though, because if I force it, the right shoulder starts dropping. And then he starts falling back and his body can't turn through the shot. So the next step was to do something completely weird. One-handed swings. And this is where the little flick reared its ugly head. Because if you can hit ball first and take a divot after the ball with a one-handed swing, you know you're doing this correctly. You set up holding the wedge angle, you got the trail arm tucked in, and I said make first swing, so he did. And he tries to hit the ball, and boom, flicks right behind it and lays this animal pelt sized divot. And he's like, wow, that really stunk. And you could see it clearly, that arm extending and a little flick. So we kept working. I said, move that shoulder. The shoulder had to get through the ball. The shoulder can't just go down. So keep the angle and the trail arm tucked in, keeping this angle, and just move the shoulder through the ball. And when you get through the ball, don't try and scoop up and hold the face open. Don't allow the face to just point at the sky like this. No, we got to get the face more here. That's going to get you drawing the ball, not like this. And so what happened is, as he kept the shoulder moving through the shot, the face got square at impact, and after impact, it stayed square. As opposed to dropping the shoulder and then doing this, where it's pointing at the sky, it's way open, he's pushing it, it's going off the planet. And there were some eye-openers in here for him. One, he felt contact like he had never experienced. You're gonna see some of these shots, just that one-arm shot, really crispy and no flick because he kept the shoulder moving. He didn't force impact there. Impact happened naturally because he kept the arm tucked in and the shoulders kept moving. And then another thing that surprised him was how much more he was extended through the shot. He was not staying stuck down like this. He was here. And this is a young guy with tons of swing speed. And then we can see finally the result. Now he's practicing these one-arm things. I said, do this one-arm drill until you can hit 9 out of 10 consistent, then put 2 hands on the club and we're gonna drill it even more. And the final result is he doesn't flick through impact. And just the other day he sent me this video, it's great. This is a thing of beauty. Totally opposite where he started. And boom, perfect impact, no flicking, none of this. And he said to me on the phone today, I can tell that what we're doing is going to work for the long term. He's tried everything. He said, it's just, this feels so right. At impact, I don't feel like I'm stuck. I don't feel like I'm throwing away speed because that's what that flipping feels like. He said, impact is an entirely different experience. That's what good impact should feel like. It's an experience. So now let's look at how you can take this and apply it to your game. And I'm going to use one of my favorite devices. I've never shown this on YouTube. I kind of wanted to keep it a secret, but after seeing this lesson, I couldn't resist. This is called the Precision Impact Trainer, and it is going to stop flipping in your game forever and get you striking the ball incredibly solid. And when you just do this drill with me, you're going to feel a different sensation. It's actually locking my trail wrist in position. Now right now, it's not set to the wedge I want. So I'm just gonna give it a couple clicks. Boom. I've got it locked in. Another thing I feel right away because of this arm position, my trail arm's tucked in. Now I don't know if this is some magic with the design, but I love it because right out of the bat, I've got the correct setup to never flip again. So all you gotta do now is focus on moving the shoulder. Let's go back to the top, boom. Now let's go move the right shoulder through the ball, keeping this arm tucked in, impact. Watch how my hips start turning, impact. I'm not trying to turn my hips, I'm just focusing on the shoulder and keeping this angle. Boom, impact and through, I'm holding it. So there's no need to turn the hands over. That's not gonna do anything for you. Keep the shoulder moving. It's gonna get the face square without you having to manipulate the hands. Right there, it's square. So how would you work on building great impact? Well, you gotta start one-handed. Holding this tucked in and making little swings. You don't have to go full swing, just go halfway here into impact. Just move the shoulder. Watch my shoulder moving around under my chin. After impact, that face matches about the angle of your spine. That tells you it's square. So you're not doing any of this, that's a scoop, and we're not doing any of this, that's a cross. We are keeping our body's relationship to the ball, and we're just moving our shoulders. In the fall through, I feel nice and extended. I don't feel down, and I don't feel my arms shortening up. Now with a club in your hands, you got the same little wedge formed, and we're holding that wedge. And as I swing back, I have instant feedback. Good top of backswing position. You even heard a little click there because the trail wrist is loading more. That's another power source. As I start down, keeping it, the shoulder moves through the ball, boom, squared impact. So I'm not pushing, I'm not dropping, I'm not just turning my hips to get to the ball. No, I'm keeping the angle, and the angle stays because the shoulders are allowed to keep turning. The weight doesn't go back, the weight stays forward, and there's good impact. And after impact, I keep the angle. And if I was you, I would hit shots like this and devote 30 minutes to doing this. You would see on a range session, you would be forced to hit the ball first and forced to take a divot because this angle makes it so. Whereas if you don't have this angle, if it's that flippy, can't do it right now, but if it's like this, flippy, chunky all day, crispy. We're talking an inch of difference between the best strikes of your life and then the opposite, the worst feeling golf shots ever. So you'll stop wandering because you've set this and it's no longer a variable. Go to the top, keep it back, and just start moving those shoulders. So your drill, keep the arm tucked in, one arm swings. Master getting this through the ball without dropping the shoulder, but keep the shoulder moving. 2, add 2 hands. Go halfway back, move the shoulders. We're doing exactly what this student did because it's going to fix your flip. 3, do it with a full swing. And same finish, just to make sure you're building the correct fundamentals. You can see this at the follow through. This feedback is so intense and so good. When I take this thing off, I'm just gonna feel like I can't flip anyway because it's pre-programming my muscle memory to be like this all day long. You look at every great golfer, it's this angle right there. So I got a nice link to this product in the description below. I got you $30 off. Use the code Crispy KFC. This thing is going to change your life. I haven't seen a training aid quite this effective when it comes to building impact. There's a lot of impact aids out there, but this thing, you can just take out, hold good impact position, swing those shoulders. It's gonna be crisp. I feel like I'm holding gold in my hands. And like I said, I wanted to keep this a secret, but I love seeing y'all improve, and I want to see you play the best golf of your life. So this device can help you create the things you need to do to play the best golf of your life. Thanks for watching today, and I'll see you in a future video.